Hello and welcome to Economics and You. I am your host, Mr. Samuelson. Today we are going to be looking at trade-offs as it is defined in the field of economics. Now, everyone who makes an economic decision has to make a choice. This is the basics of economics. We have to make decisions about what to do with our resources. Now, these choices are called trade-offs. You can have one thing, you can have another thing, but you cannot have both. For example, if you buy an iPhone, you're trading your money. You're giving up one thing in order to have another. This is the basic idea of exchanging goods within our economy. Now, the costs of a trade-off are primarily two things. The most basic economic cost is time and money. This is because time and money are scarce resources. They're scarce resources because they're limited. We can't have unlimited money, no matter how wealthy we are, and we don't have unlimited time. So every time we make a purchase, we are exchanging the money needed for that purchase and the time devoted to researching the product and actually purchasing the goods. Not to mention the time that we spent earning the money to purchase the good. Now, spent money or used time cannot be replaced. It is a limited good. We can, of course, get more money, but that doesn't replace the money that we spent. Another example of the scarcity of these resources is simply time. You don't get it back. So therefore, the time that you spend watching this video, you won't get back. So make sure you pay attention so you only need to watch it once. Now, opportunity cost is an important element of understanding economics and trade-offs. An opportunity cost is the next best option for your time and money. It acknowledges that we have to make a choice, and sometimes there are two things that we really want to do. What we don't choose is our opportunity costs. For example, if you spend time going shopping with a friend, that means you can't spend that time playing basketball. You could potentially spend different time, but that chunk of time, you had two options: shopping with a friend or playing basketball. You choose shopping, you can't play basketball during that time. With money, we can look at buying an iPhone versus buying a new pair of Jordans. You can't buy both, not with the same money. So you have to make a decision. If you buy the iPhone, your opportunity cost are the Jordans. In our little diagram here, if you spend time studying for a test, your opportunity cost might be playing video games, which is something you might have done instead of studying. These are opportunity costs. Now, when you consider opportunity costs, you want to be aware of what you're giving up. Being aware of trade-offs and opportunity costs is important in all choices that we make, not just in how we spend our money, but of course how we spend our time. Now, people do make these decisions every day, and you are thinking about opportunity costs on a daily, if not hourly basis. You may not just have labeled it as opportunity cost, as an economist would. We're going to get used to that in this class. Now, it's not just people that make these decisions. Governments also have to make these decisions. So when our government decides that we want to prioritize a chunk of money going toward building a border wall, what we give up is what else we might have spent that money on. Our administration has talked a lot about building infrastructure, that is rebuilding our schools, bridges, hospitals. Every time we choose to spend money on a border wall, our opportunity cost is spending money on things like building better schools and improving our education system. All right, production possibilities curve. So this is how economists measure how well we're doing and what we're doing with our money. Many businesses, we're going to use a business here to look at the example. Many businesses produce several types of product, and they have to assign resources to that production. They have to decide how many of their resources are going to go toward one sort of product instead of another. For example, if a car company makes two different cars, SUVs and economy cars, so those big honking things that can plow through 3 feet of snow, or the economy cars that get 40 miles a gallon to gas, well, they have to decide how they're going to divide their resources. How are they going to divide their workforce and their factories and their money? Are they going to make a whole bunch of SUVs and a few economy cars? A whole bunch of economy cars and a few SUVs? or somewhere in the middle. Now, every time you increase the production of one, you're going to decrease the production of another. I've got a little map here that shows computers versus cars produced for a particular company. We'll look at it in larger print. So we have our production possibilities curve. Make sure that you know this because this is going to show up on a bunch of your tests. We've got this curve. Now, this line represents your maximum efficiency. Your company is operating at full scale. You can make 3,000 computers, or you can make 1,000 cars, or you can produce anywhere along this line. Whereas at point B, you're making about 2,000 computers, and you're making maybe about 800 cars. That is one point along your production possibilities curve. Now, all points on the inside are attainable. You could produce at this level. You wouldn't want to, but you could. Point A is attainable, but point B is better. You have enough resources to produce at both of these. Here you are fully efficient. Here you are very inefficient with your resources. You're not maximizing what you could produce. However, point C out here, you do not have the resources to produce this. You don't have the factories, you don't have the employees, you don't have the money to put into building this much. So you must produce within your curve. All right, on a full economic scale of an entire nation, economists refer to this same curve as a guns or butter question. Guns or butter refer to military or civilian goods. So what is our economy going to make? Military goods or civilian goods? Goods that will be used in times of war, or goods that will be made to make the life of the average citizen better. Nationally, this basically means we can make tanks or dishwashers. If we have one factory, it can only build one of these two things, tanks or dishwashers. So which one are we going to make? Because every time we increase our production of tanks, we have to make fewer dishwashers. This is an important understanding of how our national economy can function and how things do shift during times of war. If the United States gets involved in a major war with another nation, we're going to have fewer dishwashers because we're going to need more tanks. Taking another look at this, we see our guns and butter. Okay, so as our guns increase, our butter is going to have to decrease as we follow along this line. If we want to make 9,000 guns, we're going to have to cut our butter production down to 400, whereas we could be at 650 for both of them at point C, maximum production along the curve. Point A is producible, we could do that, but it's inefficient. Point E, we can't do that. Outside of the production possibilities frontier is unattainable. Inside is inefficient. All right, thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something, and farewell.